G'day mate, welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Root and welcome back to another Euro 2024 fantasy video. So we're now on match day 4. It is the round of 16. The group stages are over. 16 teams have qualified and we do have 8 matches. So I just wanted to first of all go through a few of the matches, but before we do that, please make sure you do like the video. It helps me out a lot, and subscribe to the channel if you are new and haven't already subscribed. So first of all, we've got Spain versus Georgia and Germany versus Denmark. So I guess two teams that probably are one of the favourites at the minute. Spain have looked very good in the tournament so far, and obviously Germany at home and have looked good too. They will play each other if they do end up going past Georgia and Denmark. So that will likely be a quarter-final, is probably going to be Spain v Germany, but yeah, who knows? Stranger things have happened, but probably a couple of the teams that we do want to target. Also on the same side of the draw, you've got Portugal v Slovenia and France v Belgium. So again, a good fixture for Portugal, who ended up topping their group. They did obviously lose to Georgia in the third game, but they were already through and topped their group by then, so not really a big deal for them. And then France v Belgium, on paper, you could argue it is a tough game, especially as France haven't looked that great so far this tournament, but you've got to fancy France to go through that game, so I can definitely see a Portugal-France quarter-final. But the way the draw has worked out, you've got Spain, Germany, Portugal, France and Belgium on the same side of the draw. Basically, almost all the typical top teams have ended up on that side of the draw. And then on the right side of the draw, you've got Romania v the Netherlands and Austria v Turkey. So potentially, well, we know for sure one of Romania, the Netherlands, Austria or Turkey will be in a semi-final, which is, yeah, considering kind of where they're ranked, it's shocking to be honest. And it's a good thing, I feel like, because they obviously deserve it. Austria topped their group, Romania topped their group, Turkey finished second in their group, and then Netherlands ended up finishing third. So they do deserve to be there, and to be honest, that side of the draw does look very tasty for a lot of these teams. Also on that side of the draw, you've got England v Slovakia and Switzerland v Italy. So England v Slovakia, on paper, you got to fancy England to steamroll them, but the way the tournament has gone so far for England, I'm not too sure. And yeah, Switzerland versus Italy, you could argue that is probably one of the closest games, and to be honest, I'm going to struggle to call it, so maybe you won't be including players from them teams. Overall though, how this kind of affects the fantasy game is, obviously it depends if you've got chips left. If you do have chips left, you probably want to target teams to the left side, so you want to load up on Spain, Germany, Portugal and France, and potentially England. But if you basically don't have any chips left, then you probably need to spread your players out a little bit more. Maybe go for a Netherlands player, go for a few England players, because obviously that side of the draw is a lot weaker than the left side. Also, one thing to consider is goalkeepers. So there's kind of two ways to look at this. You could either go for two goalkeepers on the same side, and then they'll kind of, at least one of them will probably get through to the latter stages, or you can go from a goalkeeper from either side, so one from each side, and then that means they could potentially end up playing in the final. But that is a couple strategies, but I just wanted to show the draw what teams to target, what teams to play. Before we do get onto the team now, I did want to talk about when the fixtures are being played, so we'll get onto that now. So now we will look at when the match days are, as this will obviously affect maybe potentially goalkeepers we choose. It will also affect maybe captain choices. So we will, show this. So this is a day in front because I'm obviously in Australia, so it's quite a long time ahead of Europe. So the games will actually be a day before, but it's still obviously the same match day. It's just my match day starts at 2 a.m, whereas someone in the UK's match day will start at 5 p.m. So the first match day, the first kind of day of the match day, you've got Switzerland v Italy and Germany v Denmark. So potential captaincy options there is probably going to be Germany players. Then you've got England, Slovakia, Spain, Georgia. Probably, the teams with the best fixture, you could argue. So when you're looking at goalkeepers, you probably don't want to go for someone like Simon and Pickford because they play on the same match day. Then France, Belgium, Portugal, Slovenia. So probably looking at a Portugal captain for that day, and then Romania, Netherlands, Austria, Turkey. So again, not the best. A lot of people will probably not have many players from that day. But I think the thing to consider is you'll know if you need to bring in them players because obviously other players haven't performed. So you could use maybe a few Austrian players, a few Netherlands players as backup to bring in when some of the other players don't perform. But overall, we just want to focus on not getting a goalkeeper that's on the same side of the draw and a goalkeeper that plays on the same match day. It's probably the main thing to consider. And yeah, target the teams with good fixtures. But let's get on to the team.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game. Where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top. Guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wild cards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
So we'll start off in goal, and I have mentioned it quite a lot already, but we want to pick goalkeepers that are not on the same side of the draw and don't play on the same match day. I think that's a crucial thing to do, as you do get a double chance of a goalkeeper if they're not playing on the same day. And I've gone for Pickford and Mike Maignan, the France goalkeeper. So in terms of the fixtures, England do have Slovakia and France have Belgium. So not the best fixture for France, but to be honest, I do think that they're going to beat Belgium. I don't really like Belgium at all. And France have shown in this tournament so far that they are very good defensively. Clean sheet against Austria, which we know how good they are now. They finished top of that group. Clean sheet against the Netherlands, and then they did concede against Poland. But overall, I do really like this one. And 5.5 million, I think he is a good option to go for. Also Pickford at 5 million. Again, England have shown how good they are defensively this tournament and in previous tournaments, to be honest. Clean sheet against Serbia, conceded against Denmark, and a clean sheet against Slovenia. Obviously, Slovakia are probably not going to be any better than those teams. So I can definitely see an England clean sheet in that game. And to be honest, France and England defences are ones I do want to target. I know, like I said, France's game is not the best, and they probably do play Portugal in the next round if they do get through. But I think France will go far, and I know they haven't really shown how good they are so far, but I can definitely see them doing that in the knockout stages. Anyway, let's get on to the defenders. So for the defence, we did have a few avenues to go by. And to be honest, the teams I did want to focus on were England. Obviously, I've got an English goalkeeper, but I did want to double up on that England defence. Germany, because I think they've got a good fixture. Portugal, the Netherlands, and Spain. There is an argument to say double up on a defence of France, but for me, I think the fact that Belgium is a tough one and then Portugal is going to be a tough one, I don't want to do that just yet, just till I see them actually kind of look decent in the tournament. But we'll start off with Cucurella, who I have got in here, and he is 4.5 million. Spain have Georgia, I guess one of the best fixtures in the round of 16. Spain have looked very, very good. They've looked very good defensively as well. So clean sheet against Croatia, clean sheet against Italy, clean sheet against Albania. Albeit Cucurella didn't actually start the last game, but still the team kept a clean sheet. He also got quite a lot of ball recoveries in Matchday 2 against Italy, so you could argue that now it's a knockout stages, he might actually keep that up as well. And at 4.5 million, I think it's a great option to go for. Mark Gahey's also in the team, a player that has kind of been a great new addition to this England team. 4.5 million. Again, clean sheet in matchdays 1 and matchday 3, and also in matchday 2 he did end up getting 9 ball recoveries, so 3 points, and he is he is the highest for ball recoveries in the whole game. And like I said, England, I think, are on the right side of the draw. We know they're going to be good defensively, and getting in Gahey at 4.5 million is an absolute steal. Mittelstadt comes in next, the German left back, 4 million he is. I'm sure a lot of us have had him since matchday 1. Obviously didn't get a clean sheet then, but got it in matchday 2. And I think Germany, being at home, I think they're fancying themselves to do well in this Denmark game and go far in the tournament. And I think at 4 million, it's kind of risk-free. Cancelo's also in there. To be honest, it's a lot of money, but I think the fact that we've got 105 million budget now means we can afford players like Cancelo. In Matchday 1, he just got 2 points for ball recoveries along with his appearance points. Matchday 2, he ended up getting a clean sheet and 4 ball recoveries, and then didn't play in Matchday 3. So he will be fresh. And I do think it is a good game for Portugal. Portugal look very, very good in the group stages. They finished top of their group. And obviously they did rest a lot of players in that Matchday 3 where they lost to Georgia. But I think they'll be, I guess, back for this game. And Slovenia, we've seen them against England. They don't really offer too much going forward. So for me, I can see a Portugal clean sheet. I'm just hoping Cancelo can actually put something together in terms of attacking threat and maybe get an assist or two. Next up, the Netherlands defender. So ideally, you'd go for Van Dijk at the million more, or maybe someone like Dumfries. But for me, I couldn't afford him, so I've gone for Stefan de Vrij. And to be honest, I'm not mad at it at all. He's only 5 million. He's got some really good ball recovery points. He got 2 points in Matchday 1, a clean sheet, and 1 point in terms of ball recovery in Matchday 2, and then 1 point ball recovery in Matchday 3. So he is very high for ball recoveries, and he is a massive threat. He's so tall. And the Netherlands defensively do look good. I know they haven't kept a lot of clean sheets, and they did just concede 3 to Austria, but I think Romania, they'll probably be a bit too strong for, and I can see them maybe shoring up at the back and kind of playing on the counter-attack against Romania. And De Vrij, albeit is not as good as Van Dijk and not as good as someone like Dumfries, but in terms of ball recoveries, he's up there. So that's why I've gone for him. Overall, I'm happy with defence. There are a lot of good budget options at the minute, and there is arguments to maybe use some funds and go for Carvajal instead of Cucurella. But I think Cucurella is just as attacking. I know he hasn't got a goal like Carvajal has, but I think he is just as attacking, and I do really, really like his ball recoveries. Same with Mark Gahey, and Mittelstadt at 4 million is a bargain for the host nation, one of the best teams in the tournament. Yeah, I can't go wrong, to be totally honest with you. Other than that, I am probably a bit, I won't say worried, but it's not ideal to have the France goalkeeper, my only France defensive option, playing after Pickford, because if Pickford does well, then I'll end up with no French defenders, which is a bit of a surprise considering how good France are. Maybe not shown it this tournament, but they have been in previous tournaments, got to the World Cup final, etc. Won the World Cup a few years ago as well, and the Euros. So that's the only thing that's put me off with this team. But if I did go for someone like Verbruggen, the Netherlands goalkeeper, they play on the same day as they play on the same side of the bracket as England. So for me, that put me off. And then if they both get through, they'll play on the same day. So yeah, for me, it's not worth the hassle. And yeah, I'm just going to go for the France goalkeeper, and hopefully, if he is called upon, he'll get me a clean sheet. If not, then I probably already have the clean sheet from Pickford. Anyway, let's get on to the midfield. So now we're on to the midfield. A really, really strong midfield, I feel like. And we will start off with Bruno Fernandes. So plays Slovenia. Like I said, a good fixture for Portugal. I am really kind of loading up on the players with the good fixtures. I know as someone personally without a wild card, you could argue that this is probably not the best strategy. But for me, I'm confident in them going through. And then I'll have enough transfers, I think, in the latter stage of the tournament to, I guess, warrant the teams that do end up playing each other and going out. But for now, I do want to really, really target the kind of teams with good fixtures, because I think that's where the most of the points are going to be. When Germany potentially plays Spain, when Portugal potentially plays France, I can't see them being high-scoring games, to be totally honest with you, or high-point-scoring games for players. So I don't feel like there's much up for grabs, whereas this method, I'm trying to get in the points in the bank now and then worrying about that later on. As you never know, there could be a few upsets, and potentially there'll be more, I guess, easier fixtures going ahead. But yeah, we'll start on to the midfield anyway. So like I said, Fernandes with Slovenia. Done okay this tournament, to be honest with you. He got a goal in Matchday 2, and it didn't play in Matchday 3, so again, he's got a rest. And I do really, really like this Portugal team. They topped their group, like I said, and I think Slovenia is a good game for them. Next up, someone that I haven't owned. I have owned Bruno Fernandes before, but I haven't owned Nico Williams, 7 million, the Spain winger. He looked so good in Matchday 2 against Italy. I'm not too sure how he didn't score. And to be honest, he's got no attacking returns for the whole tournament. But I think he looks so threatening. And for me, I really do want to target that Spain fixture against Georgia. I know Georgia looked good against Portugal, but to be honest, Portugal were top of the group. They rested a load of players. I can't trust that as a sample size, and I think Spain are going to be a complete different outfit. They're going to be organised. They're solid defensively, and I think Nico Williams can be a threat for them going forward. Also got 2 German options, so a little bit risky considering Denmark are not a bad team. They did finish second in their group, in England's group, but for me, Musiala and Gundogan are just too good, and they started the tournament too good as well. And obviously Germany at home as well. So Musiala, he got 3 ball recoveries in Matchday 1, a goal, clean sheet, and player of the match. Ended up on 12 points. In Matchday 2, he got 3 ball recoveries, a goal, clean sheet, ended up on 9 points. And then Matchday 3, he did end up blanking. But for me, I think that's only a blip. I think they're already through top of the group, so there's not really an urgency to do well for Germany. With Gundogan, he earned a penalty in Matchday 1, ended up on 5 points. He got an assist and a goal and player of the match in Matchday 2, ended up on 14 points. And then a blank in Matchday 3. For me, he is one of the key players of that team. He's only 7 million as well. He potentially could be on penalties. I know Germany have had one already and Havertz took it, but I think the fact that Gundogan was fouled for that penalty, and it was a pretty rough foul, to be honest with you, that's the only reason he didn't take it. So for me, I'm happy with the double German midfield. And then I've also got double Portugal midfield. So I've gone for Bernardo Silva. To be honest, as a person that plays FPL, I've never really picked Bernardo Silva. 1, because of Pep's rotation. 2, because I feel like he's not as attacking. But I think in this Portugal team, I think he is. He's playing kind of right wing. He's 8.5 million in this game. He blanked in Matchday 1, but did get a goal in Matchday 2 and ended up on 11 points because he got player of the match. And obviously he was rested for Matchday 3, which is another nice thing going in fresh to this Slovenia game. And I think Portugal are going to be heavy favourites in that game. And I can see them doing some damage to Slovenia and of course causing Slovenia a load of problems. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm basically missing a player, a Portuguese striker from my attack. So that's why I've gone for 2 Portugal midfielders to cover that off. I'll talk about it more kind of when I talk about the forwards, but that's why I've gone for 2 Portugal players and 2 German players, because I feel like their attacking options are they're not any better than the midfield options. So and I've got 5 midfield spots, but I've only got 3 forward spots. So that's my thinking behind it. But yeah, I'll explain more when we get to the forwards. Overall, I'm happy with that midfield. Nico Williams is a bit of a punt. He's only 12% owned. But other than that, yeah, I'm really happy with this midfield. And hopefully then Germany and Portugal do go through. Otherwise, yeah, it could be a it could be a rough quarter final. But anyway, let's get on to the forwards. So now we're on to the forwards. So we'll start off with Morata. So 11% owned. He's 8.5 million. Obviously, he's got Georgia as well, a Spanish player. Has only scored 1 goal this tournament, but to be fair to him, he's only started 2 games. My only worry with Morata, though, is he does come off early. He came off in the 67th minute in Matchday 1, 78th minute in Matchday 2, and then obviously he was on the bench in Matchday 3 because Spain had already topped the group. But I think Spain will go far, and I think this game is going to be a nice one for him, and he's only 8.5 million. My thinking kind of behind this, I will talk about later on, but for now, let's just talk about the forwards. So Harry Kane's in there as well against Slovakia. Again, probably a disappointing start to the tournament for him. He hasn't looked great. He's got a goal in Matchday 2, but other than that, he hasn't really done much, to be honest with you. But I do think Harry Kane does turn it on in the knockout stages. The same thing happened at the last Euros. He didn't really do much in the group stage, and then in the knockout stages, he stepped up. And I can see that happening again. And I know he's a lot of money, 11 million, but for me, he is a very good captaincy option. And I can see him stepping up in this group stage. And obviously, England do have that stronger side of the draw. Kylian Mbappe is also in there. He's 11 million. He's high ownership. He's only got 1 goal as well. He did get an assist as well though in Matchday 1, so not the worst for him. And obviously he was injured. He got a broken nose in Matchday 2. For me, I think you have to have Mbappe. I know France don't have the easiest game in round of 16, and they didn't look great in the group stage. They finished second. But for me, France are going to be so good in this knockout stage. They've shown it in the past that they do turn up in the tournaments. They didn't really have a great World Cup group stage, and they ended up getting into the final. So this is going to be a time for France to step up, and then if they're going to do that, Mbappe is going to be part of that. So that's why I've gone for Kylian Mbappe. Overall, with the forwards, I did want to touch on this. I've gone for a Spanish, English, and a French forward, but I've only gone for a Spanish midfielder, no English, no French. So that was my thinking, kind of behind going for these 3 forwards. Obviously, Ronaldo is going to be a popular pick. For me, he hasn't done it this tournament. He obviously got the assist for Bruno Fernandes where he probably could have scored, but for me, he hasn't done it. And I think the fact that there are good Portuguese midfielders to go for is why I haven't gone for Ronaldo. In terms of Harry Kane, I've gone for Harry Kane because I'm not too trusting of England as a attacking outfit. And I know that sounds a bit odd considering I've picked their striker, but Harry Kane's on penalties as well. And I think if England are going to do well, Harry Kane's going to score. Whereas if I went for someone like Bellingham, Saka, Foden, at the minute, I'm not too sure Foden or Saka are absolutely guaranteed to start with how well Cole Palmer did and coming on in the other game against Slovenia. But for me, I don't really trust them as options. I think Harry Kane is the main man, so that's why I've gone for Kane instead of an England midfielder. And also with Germany, a lot of people are calling for Kai Havertz to be dropped in terms of the forward for Fulcra, I think his name is. So that's why I've gone for the German midfielders rather than the forwards. And then Mbappe, for me, there's no attacking French midfielders I want. The only one I would consider is Kante, who's obviously not attacking, but his ball recoveries, his overall gameplay is incredible, and he's been so good for 2 out of the 3 group stage games. So you could, but Kante can't cover Mbappe in terms of goals, creativity, etc. So that's why I've gone for them 3 forwards. Obviously, I've got Spain twice here, so I've got Spain midfielder and a Spain forward. But to be honest, Nico Williams is kind of a wild card spot, a spot that is for a differential player, a player that I don't think a lot of people will be going for. So that's why I've gone for him there. But really, that could be someone like Sabitzer, just to, spread out the players to other teams, the Austrian player, kind of relying on them to go through in the round of 16. So you could argue that could be an option. But for me, I just wanted to target the teams with good fixtures. I don't want to confuse it too much because, for example, if Austria did go out, then you could argue that the next round of fixtures, there's not really a team with a good fixture. Whereas with Spain, they're more likely to go through. Means I'm going to have more players for the next round. Anyway, though, that was it for my team. Please make sure you do like the video. It does help me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel for more videos throughout this tournament. And good luck for the match day.